Hello, good afternoon. Welcome back to a brand new video here from Miracle Mountain. It is a stunning day and also a monumental day because it is the start of something very big. But right now I'm just on my commute down to the workshop. So I want to share some very exciting news with you guys, and that is this stone house renovation project has officially started. We now have the architect locked in and on board. We have the structural engineer locked in and on board, and we've even paid for the first part of the project to get going. And what that means is you are going to be able to come and stay in this very stone house, which is hundreds of years old, has tons of character, and hopefully won't look like this inside by the time you come and stay here. I'm a little bit against the clock because tomorrow I have the guy come in to do the topography of the land, so we have a nice fresh map of the area so the architect can get started. And I want to make sure it's tidy, so things like this need to go out of the way.
I've seen the stars on the ocean, and fields of grass beneath the blue. I've heard the songs of summer singing, like a humming hymn of June. There's always something around the corner, something more to be found. And I'm sure the coasts of California are beautiful right now. And New York sky shines so bright, but to tell you the truth, honey, I just wanna come.
So it's now the next day. Yesterday I got all the clearing done the best I could around the building so that the topographer who has just arrived, called Nuno, very nice guy, and he's got a laser machine that he's going to basically get the contours of the land, but he's also going to map out all of the sizes of the stone and how big the rooms are, so then that can be handed over to the architect to start doing the really fun part, which is designing everything.
Unlocking the secrets of the land, a topographic survey is the meticulous art of mapping terrain with precision. Imagine a detailed 3D snapshot of the Earth's surface, every rise, fall and contour captured. Topographic surveys are the architect's blueprint, providing a vital foundation for construction projects, urban planning and environmental analysis. It's perfect for what we have here. Using advanced technology and surveying instruments, these surveys unveil the landscape's intricacies, ensuring that engineers and planners navigate with accuracy.
So that was actually fascinating to see Nuno walk around the building and the area that the building is situated and just map everything out. He was showing me on the screen how it's just millimeter perfect, and basically every stone, every tree, literally everything that is here right now has been mapped, and then the architect can then use that to kind of plan off. So if we want to create an opening for a window, everything is perfectly to scale when it comes to actually building it. So my goal with this project is to document everything in its entirety. So bring you guys along from the very start to the very end of this project. So how we can turn what looks like this right now into something amazing. That includes things like licensing and the different licenses we need. So one of the next steps actually is to have the structural engineer come over and do a proper structural report. So you can remember before to another video where the structural engineer came round and checked everything to make sure that the project is actually viable, but he will come back and do a full structural report for the actual building process, so we know what steel needs to go in, what lintels are maybe compromised that need fixing or replacing. So all of that is to come. But speaking to Nuno after he finished was actually quite sad, because it brought back some really not nice memories from when the fire struck this property, and he was actually here at the time, literally just over the mountainside, and watching the fire actually basically hit our property, and there's just nothing that anyone could do. He described in detail that he has never seen anything like it, and he's lived in this area most of his life, and it was just jumping roads. Any fire breaks, it was just jumping over it. A road is usually kind of like a natural fire break, a double road, but this fire was jumping 20, 30 meters and just carrying on as fast as you can imagine. It was going so quickly. The bomberos, the firefighters, they had to just keep moving back and back and back. And really it was all down to the planes and the helicopters to do what they could do. So it did bring back some sad memories, especially because he believes that this area will never be the same again. And I understand that, and I actually agree with him, because we had a lot of comments when we did the video about the fire that struck this property, and people were just commenting, like saying, oh, it's just a tree, it will grow back. What you need to understand is, one, it was not just a tree, and this has cost us over 100,000 euros of damage to this property from the fire. So that's that. There's irrigation lines, there's all sorts of problems that the fire caused, and it's very expensive, as well as this building has cost a lot more now to start the project, as well as finishing in it, for extra things that we need to put in place, because obviously the fire did compromise some of the stone, so it needs fixing. So yeah, we've worked it out to be over 100,000 euros worth of damage, which is pretty devastating when you just bought your forever dream property 2 months after to have that fire come through. And then people saying it's just a tree. Well, these trees that burnt, the oak trees, 200 years old, 100 years old, we are never going to see them trees again in my lifetime. So it's pretty devastating. All we can do, as I keep mentioning, is try and make this place better, replant, regrow with as many native trees as possible. And that will be amazing for not only us, but for future generations to come. I want your opinion on something. So you can see this doorway, it's already quite large, but if I come inside the building, you'll be able to see that there's not actually any windows on the ground floor. And that is because historically they would not have used the ground floor as a living area. It would have kept the animals and stored any hay for the animals or food. And that's because they usually build into the side of the mountain, which means the bottom is really damp, but if you live upstairs, you can combat that dampness because the wall is then not backed on to the mountainside where water can ingress. We're gonna sort that out, obviously, so you can live on the downstairs floor. But what I'm thinking is to open up this area here. So I'm thinking to extend this opening all the way over to here and have one big opening with big bifold doors so we can let as much light into this room. I'd love to hear what you guys think about that. And cost is definitely a factor, so we need to take into consideration how much things are going to cost, because my brain has some very wild and creative ideas that I really hope to be able to implement in this project, but we just have to see how much it's actually going to cost before I start an OnlyFans account. But maybe instead of having one big opening all the way, maybe we could just have a really big size window, floor to the door height, kind of like a couple of feet away from the door. That might actually look really nice. I'd love your opinions. Let me know in the comments, but I'm sure the architect is going to have some crazy, creative, genius ideas of how to bring light into this ground floor. So please excuse the mess in the workshop. This is essentially what my brain looks like on the inside most of the time. But as you can see here, we have a 20-ton wood splitter. We just recently got this. It's great. It's got a ball hitch, so I can tow it around the property wherever I need it to go. And it's just really well made, really sturdy. You can see the axe on here. It's nice and quick as well, so I can produce so much wood with this and hopefully get a year or 2 years ahead, because we do use a lot of wood in the winter time to heat our house. It's got a really nice size work area here to store the rounds, cut them, and then throw them into your wood pile or the back of the UTV and take them wherever I need.
Thanks to Squarespace, making your own website has never been easier.
We use Squarespace as a space for us to have our social media accounts, blog, shop, and even a newsletter all in one place. Handy features such as a free logo maker, newsletter, and even a commerce section ensures you can have the website you want. Designed with the user in mind, Squarespace has an easy and uncomplicated interface so you can bring your ideas to life.
Their groundbreaking drag and drop editor gives you total control of your website design, and pre-designed structures make your page building a breeze with pre-built layouts.
The templates are customizable. Add and remove any features you want whilst altering the colour, font, layout and more.
Specific purposes such as contact, about, blog, portfolio and more are ready-made and arranged to quickly create professional layouts and showcase your content. So why not build your very own website with Squarespace today by clicking the link in our bio for a 2-week free trial, and we've got a fantastic 10% discount for you to use with the code indieprojects with your first purchase of a website or a domain. It's closing in on my favourite time of the day. Taking the goatees for a walk. Messages are popping up and it's such a wonderful day. I actually cannot believe that it's January. It's ridiculously warm. I'm in a t-shirt and Theo has just sent me like 20 messages in one go, so I'm gonna have to just quickly check them. Come on, Goatles. Come on. Sky, Tildy, come on. Come on, girls. Look, Margot's raring to go. Rally the troops, Marge. Come on. Can't believe you were having your afternoon nap and you'd rather stay lying down and go for a walk in the forest. Come on. It's ever so slightly earlier than when I take them for their walk each day. I usually go around about 2 hours before sunset. So they're both, well, all three of them seem to have been having an afternoon nap. And Matilda and Sky would just let me walk right up to them. They were like, oh, we're snoozing. We're not mentally ready for our walk yet. But now they're all out. They're all headbutting the trees and having a great time. So let's go off into the forest. They are so sleepy. Come on, girls. Here they are. It's a gorgeous day for it. Let's go. You coming? They're coming. You can't see it, but from this She's got a mouthful of food already, haven't you? Oh, they just absolutely love this time of year when everything's so green. And I've taken them to a part where it's quite leafy, but they also like the leaves. Oh, bit of head rubbing going on as well. Honestly, goats are the funniest animals, absolutely love them. Oh, and there's Ginjey in the background, helping me walk them as well. Matilda's come and sat right next to me. She obviously wanted to continue resting, which is fine. The other two are over there grazing, so it always makes me a little bit alarmed when they don't want to walk and graze as much, because usually that's a sign that something's going on. So I'll be keeping an eye on Tilde because of this behaviour. Everything looks fine. She's not breathing weirdly, she's walking okay. Everything seems okay, so I will just keep an eye on her. It might just be that she's tired. I don't know how old she is, but I know that she's not a young lamb. They're not called that, a young goat, a young kid. She's not a young kid anymore, but I will keep an eye on her. It's so lovely to be out in the forest. And it's always really nice to experience the different seasons in the forest as well. Right now it's very quiet, but also quite a lot of birdsong is coming back, nothing like in the summer, but it's so much more open because all of the leaves have fallen off the trees and they're all on the ground, whereas in the summer it's so shady, especially in this part. I'm currently standing under a deciduous tree whose leaves have dropped, and by the looks of it, it's probably an oak because there's some really big oak leaves on the floor. There's also chestnuts and stuff like that around here, but in this particular spot as well, it's interesting. It's just grass. There's not like loads of weeds, whereas down by the orchards where the apple trees and cherry trees and stuff are, there's a lot more weeds. It's not just grass, so that's pretty interesting for me. And the goats always enjoy just being foraging wherever they are. They just absolutely love to nibble on the trees, nibble on the ground, nibble on the leaves. Yeah, they love it.
So I've just parked the car there, and you're probably wondering, where are you and what are you doing? Let me explain. So I was out exploring all over the district, as I normally do on my time off. I love to go out on my motorbike and basically go along all of the tops of the mountain ranges and on the dirt tracks where there's absolutely no one. Sometimes I can ride for hours and not see another person. It's absolutely amazing, but I was basically on top of the mountain where we live, and I hit some deep sand and the bike fell over onto my leg, so I'm not able to make it up the mountain today to go and work on the cabin. So I thought I'd bring you to a place that I actually discovered on my motorbike about a week ago, and I was absolutely blown away by the story and the history of this place. It took me really by surprise. I have just arrived and I had no idea the story or the history of what this place was until I got home and actually pulled up Google and researched what it was. So basically, this hotel was built sometime in the 1920s by a Spanish man who'd learnt from the locals about the healing properties from the nearby springs. So he opened a hotel here called Aguas de Radium. I mean, that just gives it away a little bit, but in English, that translates to radium water baths as a healing spa from the springs. So the springs obviously contained radium, and at the time they thought this was a great thing. They thought it was a cure for all. It was a miracle. They would even bottle the water and sell it for you to drink. You could come to the hotel and bathe in the waters or even have a mud bath. So the main section of the hotel is just there, but before you reach there, there's this building which is really interesting, and it's right by a really big pond. And I don't know for sure, but I think what this might have been used for was maybe to get changed before you bathe in the actual pond, maybe. I'm not sure. There's a fireplace over there. Let's go and take a closer look because this is fascinating. I mean, look at that door. That door is absolutely incredible. There's so many details. The amount of money they must have spent getting this place up and running is just ridiculous. And the beautiful wooden floors as well, all done in this lovely pattern. And then the sun is shining from over there, and yeah, that is an old fireplace right there. There's another door over there. But this is a big place, but maybe, just maybe, this was a changing area before you bathe in the actual pond of the radiant waters. So it wasn't understood how bad this radioactive element was until later down the line it built up in people's bones and destroyed them from the inside out. Just here there is a massive stoned area, almost like a garden area with stone walls all the way around it. And you can see how grand the architecture is of the massive building in the distance. And I've just spotted over here, actually, I don't know if you can see that, but I'm going to walk over there. It's right in the shadow of the main building. But to me, that actually looks and makes more sense that that would be the changing area. And maybe the building that I just went in, maybe that was the reception for the hotel. So you sign in and then you're in the grounds. This looks more like a changing area and would make more sense because actually the pond is just here. You can probably see in the distance a little bit of water down there. That's probably radioactive water. The stonework is beautiful, but I'm right at the doorway and I think I can see a toilet just on the left there. So there we go, there's a toilet. Let's go down here. That's another toilet. And then there's 2 showers there. So that would make sense that this was what I thought it was. This was the changing facilities. Beautiful view out the doorway there. If we go down, there's another room in there with nothing really in it. And then another room with a fireplace. And just a blank room, really. These windows are really nice, these old wooden windows with a beautiful view out. And it makes so much sense because right there is the pond. How cool is that? I found the area where people would come and get changed to go and bathe in radioactive water. I don't think having a shower afterwards is going to help one bit. This gives me a lot of inspiration, just walking around, looking at the stone walls and all of the details that go into a massive project like this. Even the trees on the outside just make it feel like such a grand place. You can imagine this filled with people enjoying their time here in the summer with the sun shining. Look at this entranceway. It's absolutely phenomenal. You got the symmetry there with the stairs going up either side, with the massive hotel rooms in the background looming in the distance. You know I'm always down for a project, but seriously, this could be incredible. And looking around, what I've seen so far, the stonework is in impeccable condition. This could be an amazing renovation project. Someone could bring this back to life for people to enjoy. I just recommend maybe not drinking the water or getting a borehole fitted. It's probably a bad idea. Maybe go and buy bottled water from the shops. So this was obviously some sort of water feature. And I imagine the only reason that no one has taken on this project is just purely financial. This could be an incredible hotel. Once again, it's got beautiful views in a good location, but just the windows and doors that I can see in this image right now is probably well over 200,000 euros worth of glazing, which is absolutely ridiculous. But if you had a couple mil to spend, you might do all right here. I take that back. It's probably more like 5 to 10 million that you'd need on a project like this. Imagine all of the hotel bathrooms with en suites and the furnishings inside. That is where it's going to get you. The stonework is, like I said, absolutely brilliant. The insides really don't look bad at all. Let me show you. Okay, let's take a look in this section of the building, because to me, it looks like a chapel. And you can see how perfectly straight and amazing this stonework is. This really does give me a lot of inspiration for our own stone house renovation. But I believe that this looks kind of like a chapel. If you look there, you can see these massive stone pillars with stone that's been chiseled flat for the ceiling. It's just incredible. A really amazing place, and I can't get over this stonework. It's just perfect. It's been chiseled to an inch of its life. It's completely flat. If I had a level to put up to here, I bet that is perfect. It's a real shame about the smash windows, and this is only going to get worse in time, so hopefully someone can bring it back. It's wild how much things can change over time, because back then, when this was a thriving hotel, people thought it was a great idea sitting out here on the veranda, drinking radioactive bottled water, and then going for a bathe in a radioactive mud bath. Now we know that's really not a clever thing to be doing, but back then, they didn't know. You can see the scale of this place. And there's a really cool, I don't know if you can see it, just to the side of this building, almost like a round stone turret. And I want to go right up there and see what the main section of the hotel looks like. So just walking up to the main part of the hotel, I notice that there is water dripping down the road. And I think maybe I've found the radioactive spring. It's crystal clear and it looks like lovely water to me. So when everyone discovered that this radium was actually bad for you, basically the hotel shut down in 1945 and became bankrupt because no one wanted to come here anymore and hang out in the spa or drink the bottled water, and you can understand why. I'm going to follow these steps just here, and hopefully that takes me into the main section of the hotel. It looks very grand. I'm not sure what I'm actually going to be able to see. And my leg is hurting quite a lot walking up these steps, but this is definitely worth it. I didn't actually come up here when I was on my motorbike. I just stayed down the bottom and had a look there. So I'm seeing new things at the same time as you guys. Well, I'm not going to make it up there because that is covered in brambles. So let's try and take a different route and see if we can peer inside. I'll follow this track just here because it looks like people have been walking through. And let's see what we can discover, because this looks even more grand than the other area. So I'm now inside one of the main sections of the building, and something that really jumped out at me was over here. There's water on that roof. That is why you don't build flat roofs, unless that was like a specialist radium bathing pool, which I don't think it was. There's water just completely flooding that roof. But look at these turrets. I don't know if that's what you'd call them. They're like little pillars that have been tiled, and right there you can see one of the ruins of the main section. The more I walk around, I think the 5 to 10 million is going to turn to 15 to 20 million, but it is absolutely stunning. And over here, check that out. That is one of the biggest stone fireplaces that I've ever seen in my life. That is at least 5 to 6 meters high. You can really see why people would want to come and spend their holidays here, just bathing in radioactive water. Look at the details on this archway. How cool is that? I'd love to learn to do that. You just need a lot of skill and a lot of patience. And if I carry on through here, this is essentially the main section with the tallest tower. I mean, look at that. That is grand. You can imagine probably all the hotel rooms in this section of the building. And unfortunately, it's just been taken over now by brambles. This doorway here is quite special because it reveals a really beautiful view on this little balcony area over the rest of the hotel building, but also the stone hills in the background just filled with massive granite boulders. So on the way back out of the building and heading to the car, I've just noticed this asbestos piping, and usually that'll be a worry, but given the circumstances of where we are, probably not so much. So I made it back to the car and I managed to fill up my bottle with water from the spring. So let's taste test this right now and see if it is actually radioactive. That is a joke. This water is actually from the spring on our property that I filled up with this morning, and it's beautiful drinking water. No need to worry. Thank you for watching. I'm going to end the video there. I hope you've enjoyed this video, something a little bit different. Let me know what you think in the comments and I'll catch you on the next one.